And then we get him. We get a image of Steven Seagal running away, and he runs amazingly. I'm gonna put in a compilation of just Steven Seagal running from all of his movies.
Yeah,
him running is probably the greatest thing in cinema.
hello and welcome back. Good, Bad, Bad, the 115th episode. The show where we watch terrible movies and tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shelgo, joined, as always, the indomitable Mr. Kyle Hinton. Kyle, we're coming down off the glow of Halloween. We're filming this the day after Halloween. I'm still not quite out of the spirit yet. We have 358 days till the next Halloween. So we're not doing a Halloween movie, even though it kind of sounds like maybe a scary movie when you say the title. We're talking about 1996's
The Glimmer Man.
They don't see eye to eye.
This guy is weird.
Drop the gun.
I can't fight.
This is not the time I want to hear that.
I got soul!
For a minute there, I forgot you told me you can't fight.
It's against my religion. I'm gonna do this.
The Glimmer Man to me kind of sounds like a scary movie.
It does.
Like somebody, the Glimmer Man comes and tracks you down.
It would be somebody you never really saw.
Yeah, they're like a shimmering, like, ooh, which is what it is. Like that's why he got this nickname in the movie. He just did it by murdering people.
We're going back
Vietnam.
to the well. That is Steven Seagal.
What Bruce?
Just another truly terrible human being that we have on our show occasionally.
The thing about Steven, people don't understand this about Steven Seagal. It's just he's just a really calm soul, really down to earth. Just really, he always talks like this, really low, really like a whisper almost, and it's kung fuing. Steven Seagal.
No, Steven Seagal's a fucking psychopath. We'll get into it. So this is a sweet ass buddy cop flick.
Yes,
starring as we mentioned, Steven Seagal and Keenan Ivory Wayans,
who is, I guess, him and Damon Wayans are like the, no offense to Marlon and Sean, the better Wayne brothers.
the more known, I would say, for sure.
Slap me around and call me Susan.
I think Marlon's pretty well known.
Yeah, they all have their own success.
Marlon
in
was
their
the
own
one
way.
in Requiem for a Dream, right?
Yeah, I think
John.
I don't remember. I haven't. It's been so long since I've seen Requiem for a Dream. I couldn't tell you.
The Wayne brothers who weren't in White Chicks.
I love this song.
Making my way downtown.
So this is it's a buddy cop movie, like we said, and apparently it's going to be about. I was like, oh, with the opening credits, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a cult thing. What is going on here? Because the opening credits are like flashes of like mutilated bodies, like like they're crucified and stuff. I was like, what is happening? This is not what I thought this movie was gonna be.
Yeah, no, this is tracking a serial killer.
Yes, so it is a classic hunting down a serial killer, a buddy cop flick. And Seagal, from moment one in this movie, he's wearing the classic Seagal.
Yeah, yep.
Just
like Chinese, very like East Asia.
Yeah, again, he visited China once, or he visited some Asian country once, and was like, "No, your culture is mine now." Like he was there for like a week, and it's just like took everything.
Like he's walking around with like prayer beads around his neck.
Yeah,
and stuff.
He talks about later they're Tibetan like prayer beads that again, and I'm fairly certain that this is all just because he wears this in every movie. We talked about it in the whatever the Outbreak one was. What was that?
The Patriot.
Yeah, the Patriot.
Because in Western medicine, they're in the business of prolonging illness, and I'm in the business of curing it.
Where he's a doctor, but he's all still wearing the same. And it's so weird, but it's just what he wears in all the movies because that's what Steven Seagal wears. So we're introduced to him, and he's like the new buddy, the new partner.
Yeah, he just got transferred from New York.
From New York, yeah.
But that's not entirely relevant. It's just like he's the new guy in town.
Yeah, nobody knows him.
Yeah, nobody knows anything about him even. Like there's no information on him.
Well, this is empty.
It's everything we know about you. Your background's nothing but smoke and mirrors.
And so they go right as he's introduced in the police office or in the precinct or whatever. They get a call that they found another crime scene, and they go out to do go through the crime scene. Yeah. And they get there, and it's like a hotel room or something, and it's a bunch of people. It's like two people crucified on the fucking wall. And Seagal says,
There's a lot more than that going on. I mean, this is different.
and then the scene just ends. And
First off,
I was
that's
like,
your
what?
first case with them, I think.
Yeah. How does he know? It is. Yeah, he just showed up, and I guess he maybe looked at old case files, but he's like, there's something different about this. Moving on. I'm not going to explain what the different thing is. We'll find out later that it was like somebody is using copycatting a serial killer to disguise their own killings, right? I think is what.
That's it.
Classic.
But they're driving back, and this is where we get the introductory action sequence.
Scene,
they're like, there's somebody
holding a hostage.
There's somebody who's like threatening to kill people and then himself.
Yeah.
I look because they're homicide detectives.
Yeah.
And Keenan Ivory. See, I'm getting all over. Keenan Ivory Wayne's character is like,
No. See, that's suicide. We're homicide. Now, some dumbass want to jump off a building, that's his problem. Somebody push his ass off the building, then call me.
hey, we're after people after they're dead, not before.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Great. So they show up, and there's a kid who has a gun at this Catholic school, it looks like, and he's holding the room hostage. And I got to talk about this scene because it makes no sense. I don't know what Steven Seagal's plan was in this moment.
He doesn't. He goes into everything without a plan.
Yeah, it happens twice in this movie, the exact same thing. And this is the first time. He gets there and he gets on like the intercom and he's talking to the kid with the gun in the room. Mm-hmm. And he says to the kid, go over to the window and look out. And the kid walks to the window, and when he does that, Seagal just kicks the door in and walks in with the gun. And I'm like, well, what did him going to the window have to do with you just kicking the door in? And it didn't do anything.
I do appreciate that they had the nice little throw or misconception or misdirection that he made a phone call to Keenan Ivory Wayne's phone, and they use that over the PA. Yeah. So even though he's like right outside the room, it sounds like he's in the principal's office or something. That's could be clever if you use it in any other way.
Yeah, because he doesn't do anything with him walking to the window and looking out. Doesn't do anything. Yeah. Seagal just walks in and points a gun at him, and the kid points a gun at him, and like, you could have just done that. Yeah. What was that?
So now he's gonna stand off with this like suicidal kid. Yeah. And it just ends with him tackling the kid through a window.
Through one window and into another. A 12-foot gap into another window on the other. It's the fucking most bonkers thing. And they would both be shredded.
Also, so like this is like where we have like, because this kid shows up later in the film, and also his girlfriend shows up later. You realize who his girlfriend was?
I didn't even notice. No.
Nikki Cox.
Wait, what is that? Who is that?
She did like some sitcom stuff. God, but I don't know a whole lot of stuff. So I want to say Seventh Heaven.
If you say, I don't. Hold on.
Yeah, hang on. No, I think it was Unhappily Ever After. Was it?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Critic wants to see my work?
No, not your work. His work with your name on it. And if he gives it a good review, that means money for us.
But, Daddy, I want people to love me for my work.
Oh, well, then I guess you should have had some talent, huh?
But yeah, he tackles the kid through one window into another window, and I was like, well, they'd both be just shredded with glass
everywhere.
Yeah, but no, they're fine. They're fine. And then they're down. I love this. Seagal's so fucking weird. They're down like at the cop car, you know, like afterwards, and the kid's dad walks up.
Who is the warden from Shawshank?
Yeah, which took me so long to realize. I was like, God, I know this guy from something. And then finally at the end, I was like, oh my God, that's the warden from Shawshank. But he walks up, and Seagal says the weirdest thing to him. He says,
"You look like a very sincere individual, and I really, really appreciate your coming down. So nice of you."
And it's this weird. I don't know why he says that to the. Of course, the dad would be. Is he being sarcastic? I don't understand their interaction, and it makes no sense. And Seagal delivers that line so strangely.
Well, like every character Seagal plays knows more than everybody else.
Yeah. Yes,
but
at all
like
times.
Seagal doesn't always carry that.
No, not at all. And he also we've talked about it. He is the prototype from Neil Breen. He's just the best at everything in every movie. Yes. And we move on from this scene to the morgue. Where
oh my God, this is morgue.
And this is the woman. This is the people who were at the hotel. They're now getting an autopsy done or whatever. And Seagal is fucking wild. He walks in and looks at this dead woman on the table, and it's like
hair, cheekbones, jackbone structure. I think she's Russian, most likely Georgian.
Okay, man. All right. Why don't you get out your calipers and measure a fucking skull, you weirdo?
And then they cut out a breast implant. plants.
And this, I had to look this up,
was
Kyle.
Fucking hilarious.
I had to look this up because I was like, no way this is real. He cuts out her breast implant and then looks at it and goes,
Run this number. Okay.
run that number. And I was like, wait, are there numbers?
I bet there are.
There are.
Yeah.
There actually are. And at first I was like, there's no way that's a thing. And then I looked it up and there actually are serial numbers printed out so you can find out what.
He cuts her open and pulls out. It's completely clean, which is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That's kind of wild. But no, yeah, it was wild that it was just like, oh, we're just going to cut out a breast implant and run the numbers on it.
And it's so weird to me that for some reason the medical examiner or whatever wouldn't do that. Yeah, like surely he would do that. Is there in a big city like
especially when you can't identify somebody from dental records or any ID
because they don't know who she is. But yeah,
you look for evidence of medical procedures because they typically have like some some number.
Or if they had like some sort of like metal plates or something that they had. You would look that up and be able to And apparently it takes Seagal to figure out
solve
this
mystery. That'd be like to have like a knee replacement or a hip replacement, and you like somebody runs the serial numbers on it. God,
yeah, that is weird. And there's just a random coincidence that he goes, because I've never heard this person referenced in any movie ever, and it was in this movie literally the day after he died. He goes, "What are you, the Amazing Randy?" And I was like,
"What am I, the Amazing Randy? We have tests to run. It will take time."
And it's like literally he had just died like the day before, and I've never heard him referenced in a movie. And I was like, what the? That's a weird ass coincidence.
In the arms of the angel.
They go to a Chinese and I don't even know what they're doing here, but they go to a Chinese a grocery store, like market or whatever,
where they have like all the herbal
herbals again because Steven Seagal's into magic plants. He thinks
it's like the Patriot where it's just like here's some herbal supplements that'll cure that disease,
cure anything, literally
cure
anything.
your cirrhosis of the liver.
Just inject it right into your fucking vein, make tea out of it, and then inject that tea into your veins. You're cured. You're welcome.
Collect them, boil them, and wait for medical teams that will be arriving shortly.
But I love there's a conversation here where Keenan Wayans is talking to the lady at and she's speaking Chinese to him, and he says to her,
"Do you know I'm black? I have no idea what you're saying."
I have no idea what you're saying. And I'm like, so according to this movie, black people can't learn Chinese? Like, what is
to be fair,
what?
Rush Hour came out the year prior.
Is this after Rush Hour?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because Rush Hour was 95.
Thank you.
Man, what the hell you doing?
I just being polite.
Oh my god. That blows my mind. This felt like it was made way before Rush Hour. Or I get Although to me, I have much fonder memories of Rush Hour 2. I don't remember Rush Hour 1 very much. Rush Hour 2 I saw in theaters, and I loved that movie back in the day.
We could have been a good couple. We could have had something special. But you one crazy ass bitch.
But so I'm not even sure why they're here, but they get some. Why are they here?
I don't know.
I don't remember why they go to this. I think it's literally just so Seagal can peddle his bullshit magic plants, and then they just leave.
Keenan Ivory Wayne gets some powdered deer penis.
Oh, just a little bit of powdered deer penis.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get to the gang deal. And I don't remember why they end up here. I think they get a call. They hear a call or something. They end up at this gang deal that's going down, right?
Yes.
And but I don't know why they're there, but they just show up.
Yeah.
And there's this big interaction. They're at this gang, and they pull guns on everybody.
This scene in particular is the moment where Steven Seagal is like going like full. Urban.
It's kind of like taking a screwdriver to a gunfight. And pig. That's an old phrase. Y'all must not be from around here.
Steven Seagal's fucking crazy, and so there's this whole interaction, and it's between these two rival gangs. Yeah. Again, I don't even know how this plays into the overall plot. I don't think it really does. This is just so we can get another fight scene, basically.
And they also had this part where Steven Seagal's like, "I'm a conflicted man. I can't fight.
I can't fight, man. What do you mean you can't fight? It's a fine time to tell me now.
Yeah, which he goes real quick from I'm a guy he's like I'm an uber pacifist to just murdering
people,
everybody,
murdering just the shit out of them,
and not even just murdering people, like torturing people to get information out of them who may not even have that information.
Like he takes like a blade out of his card and like slits 3 of their throats immediately.
Immediately, he has a credit card knife. It's literally a little credit card. He hits a button and it goes, and a little razor blade pops up, and he's like, "Sa!" And then he starts fighting people. And Kyle, Steven Seagal is a fucking hack fraud who doesn't actually know how to do any of this shit. And it is so evident in these fight scenes because they're all super like close-ups of him. And it's so funny.
I think the issue is because like his version is
Aikido maybe,
or whatever.
yeah.
I think a lot of it is based off just like throwing your opponents who are off balance or whatever. And that doesn't translate well on action,
but he does this stuff where it's supposed to look like the moments in like Jackie Chan movies where they're like blocking a million punches. But Seagal, literally, they show a close up. He just flails his arms like this, and they're like, "Yeah, this looks great."
I will give him credit on this. There's 1 or 2 shots where he throws somebody, and he actually does do a good like hip block for the throw. That's the only credit I'll give him.
I could do a hip throw when I was like 8 years old. I took judo for a summer when I was like a little kid. I could hip throw a motherfucker. It's not that hard. Yeah, so he slashes the shit out of everybody, and the windmill punches. I could watch the whole movie of that. It's incredible.
There's a scene where they're like interrogating the last guy.
Yeah,
and they don't know Russian very well.
Yeah.
And then Henry Wayans is like, "Oh, I speak a little bit of Russian." Just rams his head into the car and says, "It's Black Russian."
Fucking stupid. Oh my god.
Shut up! Don't ask.
You speak good Russian?
Yes, Black Russian.
Oh, then they're talking about this afterwards back at the precinct. And I love Keenan Wayans is talking to like the chief or whatever. Yeah. And he says to him, "Man, he took out those guys like Bruce Lee, only better." And I was like, a line that Steven Seagal made sure was in this. Yeah.
Hang on. When they're talking about me, can you... in here he says, "I'm like Bruce Lee, but am I a little bit better than Bruce Lee?"
I think I'm a little better than Bruce Lee.
And the Russians yesterday, he took those guys out like Bruce Lee, only better.
Just a little bit. Shut the fuck up, Steven Seagal. You go flail around in front of a camera some more, you fucking idiot. Then we see some rich couple is murdered with a silencer, and we don't know. This is setting up the big now mystery that we're gonna figure out. So they go to investigate this murder, and they think it's potentially the serial killer again because they're also crucified or whatever. But we find out very quickly that not only is this. Well, eventually we find out this isn't the serial killer, but we find out that this is Seagal's ex-wife who was murdered. And his kids are now motherless. So, like, he has to take care of them. It says it's a weird side plot in this movie that doesn't really matter or go anywhere. It's just like, it was his ex-wife. Okay, great.
It's perfect in every way, except for marriage.
Which is true. Steven Seagal is a giant piece of shit and has been married like 8 times and all kinds of horrible things. So that his fingerprint was found on her body, and he's like,
the print's on the body.
Planted.
Yeah, right. There's a puff of smoke coming from the grassy knoll.
It couldn't have been me. It was planted. It's a plant. It's definitely a plant. And we find out that he was ex-CIA. Or something like that.
Ex-government something.
Ex-government ops or whatever. And his old boss doesn't want to talk to him. This is where we're introduced to Brian Cox.
First off, Brian Cox is one of my favorite actors.
He's fantastic.
He's so good in like everything he does.
I know that I'm not smarter than you. Then how did you catch me, Will? You had disadvantages. What disadvantages? You're insane.
He whispers every line in this movie in a southern accent. It's amazing.
Well, let me guess. They've discovered your checkered past, and now they suspect you.
But he goes to this restaurant. So Seagal's got to go because they found this evidence that ties him to the murder, and he thinks his old boss is involved. So he's got to go talk to his old boss at this restaurant. And I love this. He shows up at this restaurant, and the maitre d' is on the phone, like talking to a client or whatever. And he's like, we're all booked up or whatever, or a customer.
He also is like putting on this hilarious accent.
Fake Italian accent, yeah. And Seagal just beats up this maitre d' for literally no reason. The maitre d' didn't do anything. He's just, and I was like, wait, is Seagal supposed to be the guy we like? And
he's a dick.
He's a dick. He just beats this guy up
ass.
for no reason. And then he walks in and he throws another guy through a wall so that he can sit at the table with the boss and whoever the old.
I think it's senator.
Yeah, it is like a senator or governor or something like that. It is senator. He says, "Thank you, senator. So kind." And he takes his food or whatever. And I love their whole interaction. There's so much good, like they just whispering at each other the whole time.
Steven Seagal whispering, like this. He really wants to get down to business. Wants to get down to what things actually
He's
are.
like,
they're still not totally up on my past yet, but I know you are. Therefore, I'm sure you realize what I'm capable of doing to you if I have to.
You know my past, so you know what I'm capable of.
Well, you see, a lot of people know the past of a lot of things.
And then Seagal starts beating up the entire restaurant as he's leaving. I don't know why he gets jumped. I think the Cox has him attack him or something, and then he just beats up everybody in this restaurant.
Brian Cox's right-hand man was not happy about being kicked through a wall.
Yes, that's right.
And so everybody just jumped him.
Yeah.
I would like to think that whoever the sound recordist was for this scene was like hearing everything and just yelling, "Can you shut the fuck up?" Because he had to get so like minute details in the audio.
Yeah, because everybody's just whispering.
Just so you can ADR later.
Yeah, that is true, because it is a lot of ADR in that scene, anyways, because they're whispering.
It's about the serial killings, and I know you know all about it. Yes, I do. Truly wicked. Sorry about him.
So he also beats up this whole restaurant standing in one place because Seagal's so fucking lazy. He's just like, "No, you come to me and I'll throw you, and then the next one comes and I'll punch you in the balls, and then the next one comes." Yeah. He does so much dick grabbing in this movie, and all of the movies that we've watched, this is like a Seagal go-to. Yeah, he punches people in the dick or grabs them in the dick or the balls or whatever, and it's like, why is that your go-to move?
He also
Seagal?
does like a kick that's ever so slightly out of frame, and it just sends somebody flying.
Yes. There's also a really terrible jump cut in the middle of this fight where we just in the middle of it just like, "Oh, we didn't film picking up from there," and they just keep going and it just cuts in the middle of the shot, and it's like, "Oh my god, What are we doing?" And then so he beats everybody up and leaves, and he has a fun line on the phone where he's like, "Probably be open about 2 to 3 months, I think."
We're close for renovation. I'd say 2 months.
So then he now figures out that, I don't know, they find some evidence or something that leads them to some person, and they're going to this guy's home, but Seagal thinks he's
at a church because they have all this like childhood like drawings and stuff.
Yeah,
of like they have all the childhood drawings of him like having people dead, bleeding, and hung up in like a crucifix style and stuff. So like, we found our guy because he was a psych patient at whatever this place was, and he's like, he's a very religious man. I better go to a church and see if he's there.
Yeah, and he is. He's there, and he takes the priest hostage.
Yeah,
and Seagal just tells the priest to get up and walk away. And he does, and the guy doesn't do it.
God, he's so good. He's so
good. He literally does nothing in all of these scenes. He's just, and it works because he's Steven Seagal. And then he shoots the fucking guy.
The guy does spill the beans, though. Like, you know, he's taking orders.
I only kill who I was told to kill, who I had to kill.
The Rostovs? The Dunleavys?
Yeah, he's working for somebody, basically. And I love after Steven Seagal shoots him, he cuts back to Seagal, and he's immediately already holding the gun by the barrel. He shoots the guy and then grabs his own gun by the barrel and is holding it. And I'm like, that would be hot. Don't do that. Ow. You literally just shot. I don't understand. What a weird, okay. Then when he has to go take a lie detector test. Yeah, I love this scene.
This is amazing.
So Seagal has to take a lie detector test because they think he's responsible for killing his wife.
They do the obvious thing, which is have him say something that's truthful, and then have him say something that's like a blatant lie to test the calibration. Yeah. And they were like,
"Are you Detective Jack Cole?"
Yes.
Have you ever climbed Mount Everest?
Yes.
Which actually does make sense since he went to Tibet.
Yeah, and he is like a special ops. Like he could have had, that could be true.
But they look at it like, man, he's either...
She says,
I've never seen anything like this. Everything reads true.
you know, that's what happens when people are just telling the truth, right? Like
exactly.
that could also happen then. And also lie detectors are bullshit. You shouldn't use them, but sure. I love it. And she's like,
It's possible, but you'd have to have total control over your emotions. I don't know anybody who could pull that off.
you have to have complete control to be able to beat the lie detector. It's like, that is not true at all. Not even a little bit. And then Seagal goes to somebody's house who has a dog and a bunch of birds.
This was why I don't know if you noticed this. What time of day was it when he went in?
I don't remember.
So when he went in, it was completely nighttime. Like
okay. Yeah.
And then he goes in, and while he's in this entire scene, there's like little shots of the outdoors, and it's like noon, broad daylight outside. It's like the reverse problem of everybody else, which is, let's just shoot night for day.
Yeah. So he goes into this house. Again, I don't even know whose this is. He goes in, and there's a fucking cage full of doves or whatever.
I think this was the guy who was being framed. Well, not framed, but the guy who was being ordered to kill.
Oh, the religious guy. Yeah. His actual house. Okay, that makes sense. And then somebody's there to like kill Seagal.
Carrier pigeons. And
stuff, he's got carrier pigeons,
doves.
which I love. Which this is hilarious to me because there's a real life story. Because Seagal's a fucking psychopath who likes to LARP as a fucking cop. He drove a tank through in real life. He drove a tank through some person's like house and killed a bunch of chickens in the he's a fucking crazy person. Like when he had his stupid show where he was pretending to be like a cop or whatever.
Yeah. I came in the 150 and we were to break down the gate. We broke down the gate, deployed out on the 2 side, and we're just sort of, trying to guard one side.
During that, he literally drove an armored personnel carrier through the gate and house of some person's house and literally killed a bunch of chickens that this person had on their property. And I was thinking of that in this moment where he breaks open the carrier pigeon thing and birds go everywhere. I was like, this movie foreshadowed that. Holy shit.
He's looking for some clues or something in here, and he gets into a fight with the right-hand man of the warden from... I can never remember that actor's name.
I don't either. It doesn't matter. He's the warden from Shawshank.
The bad guy back
yeah,
whatever.
Who's the father of the kid from the beginning. So
they get into a fight, and during this fight, there's doves and pigeons, whatever, going everywhere. I'm like, did this just turn into a John Woo film for a second?
Very bad imitation of a fucking John Woo film. And Deverell is the name of the bad guy, though. The warden from Shawshank. His name's Deverell in this movie. And he's working with Brian Cox. And there's a scene after this where they're both hanging out at a swimming pool together.
Brian Cox is swimming.
And it's the least intimidating. Brian Cox jumps in the pool and we get a shot of him we got to take care of this. But it's a shot above looking down at him, and you can see Brian Cox's pale naked body and treading water, and it's is he supposed to be intimidating in this moment?
Why are we shooting it like this?
Yeah, it's so weird. And because there's a light under the pool hitting his body, so his body's fucking glowing. Yeah, it's illuminated. It's so weird. But this is also where they explain why he's the Glimmer Man. It's because when he was in Vietnam, they would only see a glimmer through the trees, and
you'd
then
see forest, and you'd see a glimmer.
Yeah.
And then you'd be dead.
Yeah.
There'd be nothing but jungle. Then a glimmer. Then you'd be dead.
And then we cut to Keenan Wayans now, who gets almost assassinated in his apartment. He's hanging out doing some research late at night, and somebody tries to stab him and then ends up burning down and exploding his entire apartment.
Yes. Wild.
Because they kick the gas line or something off.
The stove gets ripped off, and now gas is coming out everywhere, which I'm pretty sure it would diffuse a little bit faster than what we're seeing.
I don't
know.
But I love, there's a moment at as it starts to explode where Keenan Wayans literally outruns an explosion. He's just running and the explosion is behind him, and he outruns
lands through a vehicle, which it looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. There's some okay stunts in this, relatively speaking. Some of the moments are fine and work okay. Anything without Seagal in it's okay.
And the only thing that survived the fire and the explosion was powdered deer penis.
Because of course. But then Seagal starts getting taken in. Cops show up, or supposedly IA guys, internal affairs guys, come to arrest Seagal and take him in for questioning because of his wife or whatever. And I was like, well, these guys are clearly not actually, cops or IA or whatever. And as they're driving, he sees one of them has the Russian mob tattoo or whatever.
And then he speaks Russian.
Yeah.
And oh, the gig's up.
And he starts beating everybody up in this car.
Oh my God,
it's amazing. He's like pistol whipping this guy over and over again in the back of this car. And then he's just flailing at people in the back over the seats.
But like they lose control and the car flips on its hood.
This is
incredible.
He is not wearing a seatbelt. He's just in the back seat. The car goes off a thing and flips and lands upside down.
And then the car has an incredible amount of force because it is just sliding nonstop.
And as it's sliding, Seagal is fine. When the car flipped, he didn't bang his head or get knocked down or anything.
Also, credit to the vehicles back then, very sturdy. The entire roof didn't collapse.
It didn't collapse or anything. He's fine. He's now laying on the roof of the car as it's sliding. He kicks out the back window and rolls out, and then the car slides into like a bunch of gas tanks or something and fucking explodes.
It's incredible. And then we get him. We get a image of Steven Seagal running away, and he runs amazingly. I'm going to put in a compilation of just Steven Seagal running from all of his movies.
Yeah,
him running is probably the greatest thing in cinema.
Because he's fuck. Oh my God. You know how like Tom Cruise running is like the peak of like running form?
Yeah.
Seagal is like the complete opposite
He's
end.
got arms flailing everywhere. Much like his kung fu.
Yes, he runs just like he kung fu's, which is fucking stupidly and flaily. And then so he ends up. They go to the Catholic school or whatever where the kid is, and there's somebody was coming to assassinate the kid, and they somehow foiled this plot and knew about it. And Seagal just
murders the shit out of that guy.
The guy doesn't do anything. He opens the curtain, and the guy does have a gun, but he doesn't even shoot at Seagal. Seagal just opens the curtain and shoots the guy.
Yes.
Okay, great, man. We're just fucking walking around. Again, this is the guy who at the beginning of the movie was like, I'm a pacifist. I don't blam, 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 shooting everybody.
It reminds me of the reboot to the Tomb Raider games, where it's like Lara gets her like first taste for blood, and then it just becomes like a murder spree.
Yeah. I like those games. They're a lot of fun. I actually just beat the sequel not too long ago, but they're fun. But yeah, she becomes a murder machine.
Shocking experience of taking my first life. I must have more.
Yeah. Oh man. And then the kid explains the plot for like 30 seconds. He just exposits what's happening. He's like,
Donald kill his translator because she knew that my father was smuggling in some bad shit from Russia.
Oh, so my dad is actually a bad guy who's working with like the Russian mob to sell chemical weapons to.
And that's where Seagal's ex-wife comes in. She was the translator, I think.
Yes.
And that's the whole connection.
Yeah, and she knew he was smuggling these chemical weapons, so he killed her, or Deverell had her killed. So now they go to talk to Brian Cox, and because I don't know why they need information from him, but whatever. They go to him and
they kidnap him.
Yeah, and Seagal just starts shooting him, just over and over again to get information out of him, and ultimately the information is they're doing there's a deal tomorrow.
Chemical warfare.
The stuff you already knew, he just confirms it basically.
Oh, okay, cool,
great.
Brian Cox he doesn't die though. Doesn't get killed. He just hobbles to a hospital.
Yeah, full of holes, hands and feet and everything. So they're selling them to like Serbian freedom fighters, I think is what it is.
Deverell is smuggling chemical weapons in from Russia. I made the contacts for him. The deal's being brokered by the Russian mafia.
The Russian mob is selling these chemical weapons to the Serbian freedom fighters. And then they get to this deal where this is all going down the next day in it's like an apartment building.
Yeah, like completely run down, vacant.
Yeah, and it's not vacant. There are people because we'll talk about that. But yeah, it's just like an apartment.
The beginning of the scene looks like nobody is living there, and then later, whenever they're doing a search, they're like, "Oh, there's people who live here."
Yeah, all over the place. So this is the exact same thing that happened in the beginning of the film, where the kid has the gun and Seagal like tries to like go to the window and then just kicks in the door and puts the gun up. The exact same thing happens here. They're like, maybe Keenan Wayne says,
Wait. Now, we don't know how many guys are in there.
You want me to wait till they'll kill each other?
Yeah.
It's like, we should wait. Sounds like they're going to shoot each other and then we'll just...
Well, like, they do all that. he kicks in the door. It's ridiculous how impulsive Steven Seagal is after like quoting
the Dalai Lama and shit or whatever.
Yeah. Or in the what's the Art of War, dude?
Sun Tzu or
yeah, where it's just like you must wait for your opponent to make foolish mistakes. It's like no, you.
Young warriors used to like to fight head on. Old warriors like to wait. Let's just wait.
Drop the gun, police!
Seagal, two people, they walk into the room, and not just walk into the room with gun draws. He walks into the middle of all of the people with guns. Like, this is the worst possible. Oh my God, you're a fucking idiot. And then, of course, a fucking gunfight breaks out, and it's just, they're shooting everywhere. Everybody's shooting everybody. Deverell gets shot in the fucking head at one point.
He was gonna sell out his right-hand man for, to get Seagal off his back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna shoot you then.
Yeah, he gets fucking shot in the head. And I love, Seagal is in love with himself reloading his gun in movies.
Yeah.
They show it so many times. And he always does this weird, like, he like flicks the gun when he ejects the magazine, or he's like, gah! And they show it a dozen times in this movie, him reloading. And they're shooting everybody. Deverell's dead. And they killed Deverell, I think, because they needed the second-in-command guy to be like the guy he fights.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because he fights him earlier in the film and kicks his ass. But
yeah,
whatever.
And then so they're gonna start fighting, and now he gets out and runs out, and they're all chasing after him. And Keenan Wayans runs like downstairs.
He goes to an apartment that is just open.
Well, yeah. As he's running downstairs, though, he comes across those two kids in the hallway with like toy guns, and he almost shoots them. And I was like, did those kids not hear the entire gunfight that just happened on the floor above them? Of
course not. This is movie logic.
I mean, it wasn't like a couple gunshots. They had a full-on firefight with like 10 people, and these little kids apparently had no idea.
There was a firefight!
But we need to get Keenan Ivory Wayans basically out of the rest of this movie.
Yeah.
So we're going to shoot him through a window.
Yes.
And he's just going to hang on.
He gets shot through a window, and then he's like, help, I need help. And now for some reason...
He's on the roof.
Seagal is on the roof, and he goes, wait a minute, and for some other reason...
There's rope up there.
There's rappelling gear. Not only rope, there's rope and harnesses, and like a full fucking... And maybe it's like the window cleaners, like, equipment or something, maybe? But he gets harnessed up in like a second, and Seagal now rappels down the side of the fucking building. He repels down and saves Keenan Wayans, and then puts him into the next building.
He chases the second-in-command dude down to like an office building.
Well, he gets down to the lobby, and then the guy, he gets down there first because he rappelled down, and then he locks the doors of the lobby of this building, and then he's sitting behind the desk, and the guy tries to leave, and he's like, not getting out that way, and the guy has a gun and doesn't shoot Seagal.
I'm gonna kill you like I did your wife.
Yeah.
Like, oh, threats and all that crap. Anyways.
I'll take care of you like I took care of your ex-wife.
Lots of Seagal flail punching, flail punching, blocking kicks and punches like
Seagal's asking him to like punch me harder.
Is that the best you got, boy?
What are you doing, you crazy man?
Yeah.
But he like kicks. Does he kick him through the window?
He also says as he's blocking, he's like boring.
Boring.
Yeah. It's like, wow, he's the best.
He's
the
so
best
amazing. He's like Bruce Lee, only better.
But he kicks him, like he gets thrown through this window in some fashion. Where he jumps out with this iron bars.
It's
and
so
everything.
clearly rubber.
Because it's just flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But he like lands with his head impaled on it.
He gets impaled on a wrought iron like gate down below, and it's like the moment in at the end of Hot Fuzz where he gets. Like the spike up through his mouth, except it goes through his entire head and fucking kills him. And it's fucking amazing. He gets impaled, and then we get the classic kind of just ending of them like buddy copping. We're not partners. Fucking nonsense. Who cares? It's stupid. And then the movie ends. I gotta talk about this. I found these two reviews, I found this one review on IMDb about this movie. This is a top YouTube comment on this movie.
Oh boy,
I love it. I've watched this movie at least 20 times over the years, and it's still entertaining. One of Steven Seagal's underrated best. I was like, all right, man, cool. And then the music starts playing, and I was like, is that Steven Seagal singing? Because I think it's Steven's. I don't know. So I looked it up. He's credited as a writer on the song. It says it's performed by the Jeff Healey Band, but I swear it sounds like Steven Seagal singing. And he did release an album at one point. He has a music career. He took a turn into a music career at one point.
What is going on?
Yes, I think it might be him. I think the band might be performing, but I think it's Seagal singing that song because he did write it. Whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called. Like,
do you think Steven Seagal just tried desperately to be a Renaissance man, but with an incredibly low bar?
Yes. He just trips over all of them. Yeah, he's a fucking clown of a human being. This movie, I would say it's maybe good, bad. It's close.
There's some wild parts in it, but I don't. Yeah, it's so close.
It's I would say good, bad because it is entertaining. Most of this, it's not boring, which is a good thing. It's not like, it's also not so incompetent that it's like funny in that regard. Like it's fine, somewhat competent, but it does have a lot of goofy shit in it, and Seagal just being fucking crazy Seagal.
It's good, bad in the fact that you can tell the influence that Steven Seagal had on the film, especially like some of the writing and stuff. And you're like, I knew what he did there.
Yes. Yeah. So I'd say good, bad. It's been a while since we've had a good, bad. I think this one counts. That's going to do it for this episode. You can do us a giant favor. Head over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us for as much money or as little money as you would like. It helps us out a ton. It's how we were able to buy these brand new microphones.
Yes,
brand new.
Glorious things.
Brand new microphones.
Hopefully they have incredible sounds.
They do. I've tested them out already. They do sound fantastic. Nice. So yes, stuff like that is always great. You can also go to tpublic.com and search for Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad, and you'll find our store there. Or there's a link in the description below where you can buy t-shirts, masks, whatever you would like. I have a podcast called This Film Was Lit where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this one is out, the most recent episode will have been The Shining, which was our Halloween episode. So we went in and broke down every little detail of The Shining, compared it to the book, because infamously Stephen King hated the 1980 The Shining.
Which sucks because the movie is incredible.
It's a very good movie, and we discuss how good it is, and about how good of an adaptation it is, and why Steven Seagal or Stephen King didn't like it. I bet Steven Seagal didn't like it either.
I think I've made this point before. If we went like true to the book on everything Stephen King's written, there would be some legal problems.
This is true. So yeah, that's the most recent episode. Kyle, we have a Twitch. You have Twitch. Yes. Twitch.tv.
We Twitch stream occasionally.
You do it more often than I do, but I actually have been meaning to. I've been playing a lot of Hades, and I might stream some of that.
I cannot wait for Hitman 3 to come out. I'm definitely going to stream some of that.
There you go. So look out for those things they're on the screen. There you go. And until next time, keep watching movies. Oh wait, yeah.
You can't.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's free. You don't gotta pay. You don't gotta give any money to this asshole. Just go
watch the Glimmer Man.
Watch the Glimmer Man.